Welcome back to the Eden Room. Today I am talking with Gaelle Choppe. She is the Parisian coach and Feng Shui expert, interiors space clearing goddess. She has got a website called Give It Space, and she is coming on to talk to us today about having a really good clear out in our homes, getting the energy flowing, bringing us back into a sense of calm, making our homes feeling like a sanctuary where we can be productive, where we can live our best lives and become our full, most expressed selves. So I'm going to try and get Gaelle on. Just give me a moment. Let me know how you are in the comments. Say hi if you're with us. She's not here yet, but I'm thinking she'll be here any moment now. Let us know your questions for Gaelle. If you have got a space that you just keep finding is getting cluttered, if there's an area of your home that you're struggling with, if there's something that has been bothering you in your space, what is it? What's going on in your house? What are the tricky areas? And we're going to have Gaelle coming on any moment and asking to join the live, and she will be giving us a taste of her expertise in this area, which is such an important area, and it really can change the game. You can absolutely manifest in your life when you change your external environment. Gaelle and I are going to be talking a bit about that today as well. Here she is. Yes.
Hi.
Hi, Hi, love. You okay?
Yes, good. Sorry, I had to join from my phone, so
no, it's fine. It's lovely
delayed.
to see you. Okay,
Nice to see
will you start off by doing a little introduction, please, and sharing with us a bit about your background and your mission with Give It Space?
Sure, yes. Hi, everyone. And please do tell us in the comment if you can't hear me properly or if I'm shouting as well. So really happy to be here. My background, very eclectic, with a long career in TV advertising. And a decade ago, I started, making a lot of changes to my life and really seeing, by changing my surrounding, it really gave me like a deeper connection to myself. And then I've studied different things along the line, and it all came together basically to be for what I'm doing now. And that is, mixing some coaching, some Feng Shui principles, some design. And it's really about bringing your surroundings to reflect who you are, who you want to become, and really to support you really in your life journey and to give you a feeling that you look for. So anyway, I can carry on.
And okay, so what can we expect from today's session? Like, how much is even possible for us to, virtually on a chat? Like, is it something that we can make a big shift in our homes from your information and what you can teach us today? Or is this more of like an on-ramp and a perspective changer? Because for me, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, oh, my resistance, I love this subject, but I tend to prioritize other things above my space. So the kids' music lessons might go before. There's a mirror that I really want for my bedroom, but like I haven't bought that yet, and there's things like that. So you must get people's resistance coming up. So I'm curious about what people's resistance are, and I'm curious about today and what can we expect to achieve from this session with you today.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it depends a lot. Our home are unique, just like we are. So I don't believe in, one rule fits all. And despite the trend of, strong decluttering or cluttercore now, there's the over maximalist, all of that, because we have different spaces. We also have different life circumstances. So whether you have kids or not, or partners, it's all different, and also different lifestyle with our work. So I don't think there's one fit all. So I'm happy. What I would really like people to take, I guess, is from this today, is really understanding that strong, correct connection with our surrounding. Because in a way, if life always gets over basically, and you prioritize, what you feel at the time is important, and your kids listen, it obviously is important. But if you're in that setting, which will be calmer, maybe you won't have to rush to go to the kids' lesson. So it's really about, taking the time and set the scene and set up the space for the way, that it works for your lifestyle.
Mm.
So it's worth prioritizing, because if you don't, in a way, you know, it will, your energy and then all your time. I mean, the time efficiency that you can gain just by having things, you know, categorized and know where everything is, and not as opposed to all over the place, for example, is quite important. So that's an example. Yeah, I mean, obviously I could talk for hours, and because there is so many things, it's hard to condense in such a small time. So yeah, I think, yeah, that understanding, it's really our soul. I mean, you're really interested in mindset, Kat, and I truly believe that, you know, for anyone who want to change their mindset, in fact, starting with the surrounding is kind of the foundations, because you're already in a space that makes it easy. And, you know, like space, like home is basically, you know, the number one safety and security place. And all humans beings are so, like, they have a strong need for that safety. And that's not new. That's like from caveman. So it's just now we have different things. But the problem we have now, we're so overloaded with information, with advertising, with, and guilty, but you know, it's just the world we live in. So I think it's very, when we're more in tune and aligned to our surroundings, it also impacts our way of living, the choice we make. So actually it's worth, you know, taking the time to look at all of that, because you could end up not only saving time and having more space, you know, for what truly matters, but you could also end up spending less money, because you know exactly what's suitable for your life, and, you know, the brand you want, or, you know, the type of product you want. And yeah, so it's, you know, I feel like it's really something, you know, that's worth doing and really takes the time. And saying that, if you are busy, it's not something that you need to, you know, take a week off necessarily. Also, I wouldn't, you know, you often read about people advising, oh, but just do 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day. Yes and no, it depends on your space again. So if someone's got a spare room with, you know, all their junk and all their possessions that they want to sort out, and they can just shut the door every day with all their, you know, 4 bags, fair enough. But really, most people I know don't have that luxury to dump everything. So I think it really depends on the circumstances, basically.
What I'm hearing you say, so I'm loving this. So what I'm hearing you say is that it's about our soul connection with our homes, and letting that home be our safe place, and how some of these tips that you're going to share with us going to give us more connection with our environment, but also like more clarity in our life. So, you know, like you're saying, you're not going to waste money on things that maybe you wouldn't need to buy, and you've got more of an alignment with your home. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's start then with looking at, like, what is your kind of model? Like, if you just begin, a lot of people always say, like, how do you start? So when you're beginning with a project, where do you start? How do you get into it?
Yeah. So number one is awareness. So I think it's very hard, you know, often we think, oh, I'm going to declutter or arrange a room or do anything like that. But actually, it's awareness by really feeling and connecting to, you know, so let's say if we go to one room, you know, let's go into that room, and how does that space really makes me feel? So that awareness is quite important, because if we start with knowing exactly where we come from and where we want to go, I think it's often, again, because we rush doing everything, we just think, okay, I'm going to declutter that drawer or this or the wardrobe, or, you know, actually it's often it's like we have that motivation and then we reach a plateau. So it's very good to start with awareness and really where we're at, and it's okay. No matter what comes up, it's okay. And we have to be careful not to be too self-critical, because it's easy to say, oh my God, but how could I live with all that shit for ages, you know? So like that got removed, but having that sensation of what it does to you, basically.
So you kind of like maybe take a pen and paper and walk into each room and write down, I walk in my office, I feel.
Yeah,
and then maybe, like, you know, say you feel overwhelmed when you go in your office, would you then write, I want to feel focused and productive when I come
Yeah.
here? Like get an intention going for each space? Or
Yeah.
is that like, because if we get an awareness, like for me, I know the way my brain works. I need to ground that awareness somehow. You know, I kind of, I'm quite a visceral person. So I can imagine myself going through each room and going, how do I feel? And then I'd need to somehow anchor it, you know, like write it down maybe. Because my house is quite eclectic. Like every room is really quite different.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, you can personally use that, but I mean, I use with clients, I've created the wheel of home. So it's based on the wheel of life, but basically it's taking your home, and you can really evaluate each room on a scale. And then, you know, with the clients, then also it's, so from that awareness, it's also going into the, you know, more future. It's like, you know, so what would a 10 make you feel like? So, you know, you're starting visualizing as well the change you want to see.
Okay, so this is like your step 2 is like the
So that'd be
okay,
step
so
2.
For people that don't, because you're obviously an amazing coach as well as interiors and Feng Shui and space expert, when people go hear the wheel of life and that means nothing to them, is there a place where they can get that understanding or that visual so they can use this wheel in their home? And what's on the wheel? Because obviously if you do the wheel of life, it's like health, love, you know, relationships. With your home, what do you do? The different rooms, or how is it working?
Yeah, I mean, I think for everyone who don't have, I mean, at the end, I can talk about doing just for the Eden Room viewer, you know, a tester, and I'm happy to share that tool, obviously, with them that I've created. But in the meantime, I'd say, you know, like you said, you know, take a piece of paper, go to each room and see how it makes you feel, and just write that down. Step 2, you don't have, you can, what works for you, you know, you can write it down or visualize, you know. So it's not the same as having a guided visualization, but if you're doing it on your own, just, you know, close your eyes and just visualize the space you'd love to see for that room. Step 2, yeah?
Yeah.
And then step 3, I think when there's quite a lot of things to be done, it's nice to have a little plan. So a little, and when I say little plan, I mean, you know, like a realistic plan.
Yeah.
Because I know I've seen, you know, like plans that goes on for
right.
just to, so, you know, it's got to, and I love the fact that, I mean, it's got to feel like easy and simple to me. And nearly, you know, like, the process of doing everything, it's a very mindful process. And as opposed to, you know, all this, I have to do this, and it's like our inner voice that's talking. So and so going from there, it's good because also, you know, when you reach, depending on how big is your space, and you have to do but if you're in your room and then, you know, you're reaching that plateau phase where you're a bit demotivated, you can always think, okay, hang on, I know what I want to achieve. So it's quite a good, you know, reminder as well. But, you know, like about creating space, is there's so many, I mean, decluttering and removing some of our possession is one thing, but often there's also, you know, the way we are arranging our furniture, or the colors we choose, or, you know, let's say if you have a small room and you have like a high chest of drawer, it's going to kind of take some of the space visually, whether if you have a lower and longer and narrower, you know, one, which will be the same capacity, will just work the same, you know, it will create that space visually. So there's different ways basically about creating that space and for the energy to flow.
So step 1 is get your awareness and see how you feel in your home overall, and then each room. Step 2 is then begin to like dream and visualize, okay, this is how I'd like it to be. And at that point, do you sometimes do Pinterest boards and vision boards and stuff, and like get some power behind those visualizations? And then you plan it in step 3. Okay, and the planning, I suppose, is quite practical stuff, like I'd like a gallery wall here and I need to get rid of that old chest and that kind of a thing.
So that's, you know, if we're looking at the decluttering itself, just to create that space. But if we want to also look at, you know, aligning, so depending on the person, and if you know what you want straight away, but not everyone are clear on what they want. So it can be also working on people's value. So, you know, what does matter to them? Because I think even for that visualization space, it can be really helpful. So I think, again, sorry, because to me, there is definitely not one rule fit all. So yeah, it's great to have those steps, and, you know, for sure, everyone can try. And for everyone who knows as well, you know, either this is just like a specific space, or often because our surroundings are so linked to our emotions, we don't often realize actually it does something in our so for example, you know, clutter is stagnant energy, and there may be an area of our lives that, you know, is a bit stuck and does not, you know, flow or move forward. So sometimes it could just be about, you know, finding out more about that as well.
Let's talk about that for a second. Okay, so let's say you're having a trouble in your business with cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you then go and do some decluttering in an area of your home as a kind of way to treat that?
Yeah. So I think for cash flow and, you know, money, you really need to clear space. So, you know, you need to have that energy coming through and be clear. So I think there's definitely a decluttering element, but there's also, you know, things that, you know, so I think, you know, it depends on, for example, your office, where it would be based. And like, for example, you know, if your business is, I don't know, whatever your business is, but having something that is very representing of success for you, for example. I mean, after, you know, there's things like, I mean, in Feng Shui, they talk about, you know, wealth corner, and then, you know, showing abundance. And there's different ways of showing abundance. It can be,
do you believe in that? Like, should all business women have a wealth corner in their home?
I mean, yes, I think, you know.
Yeah. My mum used to put a picture of a waterfall in a corner of my office, because it, like, water represents money, doesn't it? Right, like energy. There we go. Look at that. Boom. So that's what we all need to do: get some flowing water or pictures of water.
This is, yeah. A fountain is good because it's flow of energy as well. But I mean, I think when you use the word should, I don't think necessarily, you know, everyone should.
Right.
However, it's good to, you know, have a look around and, you know, get in touch with that space and see, you know, how, because I think, you know, truly also within us, we often have, you know, the answer. And look at the artwork. I think the artwork, I mean, I've made that one because it's, you know, representing for me abundance and a lot of trees, and I love mountain, but it's very personal. And I think everyone is unique, and everyone should have their own unique piece of really, you know, either if you want joy or, you know, calm, or, you know, in the case of business, yeah, you want abundance and wealth. So bring it on in artwork, and also, you know, yeah, around your desk, you know, make sure, you know, it's clear. And, you know, I always think like, because it's interesting at the moment, there is this clutter core maximalist approach, how, you know, actually to feel safer, they're saying we should, you know, keep everything. And I think if you're an artist and, you know, you're very creative and you like to be in that chaos, and that help you seeing clarity in that chaos, and if you have, you know, all of your work and other people's work everywhere, that will inspire you for sure. But usually if you're looking on the other side at a CEO and the way they're running, you know, their multi-million dollar business and things like that, they tend to be more, what they require is more laser focus. And so, you know, they tend to have surroundings that are very clean line, you know, neat, even very cold sometimes.
Almost,
you know?
sparse, yeah.
Yeah.
And that became really, really popular for a while, didn't it? And then I think also that Eastern approach, where it's very stripped back, but actually in England, for example, we've always had more clutter because it kind of keeps us warm, you know, like it like suits our personalities. We're very eclectic and we like a cozy feel sometimes. And if it's very empty and sparse, it's sometimes not, it's a bit cold, as you say. That's really interesting. Yeah. It's like what you're saying, one size doesn't fit all. It's personal preference.
Yeah. And I think it's about balance. I think for me, the best, when you nail it for your life, and that's what I'm constantly working towards, is that balance. It's that balance with, you know, surrounding with the stuff that really makes you happy and create joy in your life and makes you feel safe. And also, you know, making room and space to be able to be in a calmer place and being more focused really, and have more time and have more organization. So it's really that, you know, balance that I think that's, you know, when you've nailed it, it's when you get that really.
Okay, so we've done our like step 3 of planning, and then is decluttering part of that? Like, is step 4 just go into action and do it, or is there like a methodical way? Because I know for me, there's certain things that I always think, oh, I'll sort that out, like my garage or something, and I never quite get around to that. So I mean, how do you tackle those things? You know, do you have it as part of the plan, or is it a section of itself to declutter?
Yeah, so as part of the plan, when you know, let's say fix your garage, and you know more or less, you know, what you want to achieve, and you don't have to have the plan like every single detail either, you know, you can have room for flexibility really. But it's good in the plan to know, okay, you know, on that day I'm going to do that. But so there are a setup before starting, and the setup is really, you know, it's always best to do during the day as opposed to in the evening. And also do it like, allow yourself like a window if you're spending an afternoon or 3 hours, you know, when no one will disturb you, you know, you will be on your own, no friend calling or whatever. And also, you know, even no music or no thing in the background, because I think often people think, oh, put a bit of music, that will make it easier. But then you're focusing on that and you're not really mindfully into what you're doing. And it's good in the calm, because it's also, it's your own time. I like, you know, actually, I don't really like the word decluttering. I much prefer the word of reviewing. It's a review of your own space and who you are, and if that match, basically.
Wow.
And because like that, you're going through, and then after you're going to start, you know, taking each object or what it is and connect with that. And either, you know, it doesn't serve you anymore, and either, or it does.
And okay, like, this is so good. So let's say that someone's struggling to let go. No, let's say there's lots of things that don't represent who they are anymore, and they don't really have a connection with, but they're overwhelmed at the idea of, well, how would I begin to get rid of this? Where would it go? How do I, you know, they just go into a bit of a disassociated place of feeling the sort of struggle, especially these days. We've got to book an appointment at the tip, and the charity shops are shut, and you know, it's just kind of like, that's always the thing for me. I can sometimes declutter a big box, but the box stays in my garage for a year. So what do you recommend there then? Let's say that someone's having some resistance around letting go.
Yeah, so first I'd like to identify if that resistance is around like a specific thing that reminds them of, you know, either, you know, a lost person, or, you know, different things,
like emotional.
Yeah, so how attached you are to emotionally. Is it like are you, because there are people who are going to be, we tend nowadays to give a lot, I mean, don't get me wrong, I give a lot of importance in our home and how it connects us, but I think at the same time we are giving a lot, even too much sometimes, importance to object, where actually, you know, it doesn't, you know, if your house was on fire, well, what would you take with you, kind of thing, you know. It's not everything we have is truly valuable to us. I'm not saying that we have to get rid of even what doesn't necessarily feel valuable, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would to come back to your question, is I would really what's the word, you know, it's like when you see the big mountain and everything is just too much. Instead, it's looking, okay, so what's step by step, like breaking it down. That's the word. So breaking it down and find out, you know. And then, I mean, as a coach, I would actually go into, you know, what's behind that really, and you know, the stop of letting go. However, and you know, sometimes I think with emotional possession, I think if it's I don't know, like nostalgia can be a big one as well. So, you know, it's not like it's, you know, a matter of life or death, or really it makes you feel like, but you know, you may have fond memories about stuff. So depending of what the object is, you can, you know, maybe find an alternative and take it as a photograph. So if you're afraid of not, you know, forget it, so you cannot forget it anymore, if you see what I mean. And also I think it's not about, you know, if something really matters and is from your past, I mean, who is that there to say, you know, what we should let go and what we shouldn't let go of? So maybe we're just not ready to let go. So I think that's why in this instance, it's more like a coaching work, really, to find out really what's behind that. But saying that, I think, like, you know, when I mean, for me, like, in terms of, you know, my past and relationships, like, you know, when I did break up, I had a breakup, like, it's important, I mean, again, in my own style, in my own time, but things that, you know, were reminders of, you know, the two of us or things like that, and make the conscious effort, you know. But also what I was actually earlier, you were asking, you know, the steps. And before the let go, in fact, it's very much about setting up an intention. You mentioned the word intention. And actually, you know, so when you plan your time and date, and it's daytime and you don't want to get disturbed, and also emotionally, actually, it's good, even if you plan that date, okay, I'll do that this Saturday, make sure that on the day, emotionally, you're in a good place. It's a no to go any close to, you know, stuff that you want to get rid of if you're not, because it can be hard. Like, yeah, if it is stuff, you know, that emotionally you're involved too, you don't want to go to do the work when you're not going to be, you know, in a good place.
Right. So make sure you're emotionally strong before you do your decluttering. Don't do it on an off day. Don't do it when you're hormonal. Don't do it when you're tired. You know, don't do it when you're wobbly. That's really good tip.
It's important. And also, and on the day, so when you feel good and everything is, you know, set up, it's good also to have that intention. So you already did the work of visualization before, and really with the intention, it kind of anchor also, you know, what you want to achieve. And then for the process of, I'm saying that now, but I should have said that before, but it's because of the process for letting go. It's also easier to let go of something when you know for the biggest, you know, things around the corner to come to you, basically. So if it was, I don't know, it's hard to, you know, because it's all different for each individual, but
like you're letting go of an old sofa, and you might think, oh, you know, I quite like this sofa, I've got a lot of family memories of this sofa, but it's easier if you can get the new sofa that's coming in your mind to feel excitement about the new one. Or like how people feel when they move house, I suppose, you know, it's got a lot of memories, and people can feel very attached, you know, sad to let it go, but it's like having to let that chapter end to go to a new chapter. We were talking about this yesterday on a coaching call with you know, like when a lobster moves shells, and it came up again on the astrology yesterday, right? It's like there's a really vulnerable space that we go into when we're letting go, and it's between that liminal transition time where things are a bit vulnerable. So what I'm hearing you say is like the more you get connected with what's coming in its place, the stronger you'll feel when you're in that transition.
Yes, definitely. Yes. And we don't have to let go of everything either. You know, I think we should be gentle with ourselves, and especially right now, because it's been a tough, you know, year, like never like before. And so our home is really our safety place now. It's our nest. And, you know, and if we cannot feel safe in our home, where will we be? So it's quite important, you know, to be gentle with ourselves and just to do, you know, what we can. And things, you know, and I think the emotional attachment, it's like, you know, grieving. We all, you know, it's like nature does this whole thing, you know, like regularly, but for us human things, you know, take a bit of time sometimes, and that's okay. And also, you know, and sometimes I think when we're in doubt, we shouldn't check anything. Because I can say as well that, you know, when reviewing, you know, my wardrobe, for example, you know, I've been, oh, I don't really like that. And then, you know, maybe 2 years later, I'll be like, I love that. And I'm so happy I kept it. So I would never advise anyone, you know, to just, go because now you don't need it. I mean, it's like, you know, you have it again, it's about balance. A lot of it is about balance, basically.
Got it. Amazing. Okay. Any other final tips, things that people need to be aware of? Good advice where people are having a spring clean at the moment, getting the energy moved in their homes, connecting their vision for it. It's all really good so far. I'm just thinking of people feeling inspired and cracking on. And is there any other tips that you want to share with them, or anything else you want to share on this subject? I know that you know you've got a ton more to say, but in the time we've got, so actually it's probably a quick moment to just say where people can also find out more and get your expertise, and then perhaps we can wrap up with some tips.
Yes, so sorry, so should I do the tips first, or?
Yeah, tell us where people can quickly drop your URL and where people can get to hear from you and connect with you, and then maybe tell us the tips. And then at the end, I know you've got something else exciting to share with our Eden Room members. So let's do it that way.
Yes. So my website is giveitspace.com, and I have an email address which is bonjour@giveitspace.com. So you can get in touch with, you know, any questions you may have, and I'm quite happy, you know, to jump on a call. I do free complimentary call. So that's the first. And I am really excited actually, because I'm launching like a course this week, and it's a 5 weeks course. So then it will finish before solstice. But at the same time, I understand that, you know, it's a time where people don't necessarily have that rhythm, so it can be done self-paced, basically.
But it's a great time to have a focused intention, a sprint to the solstice on this area of your life. So if you're someone that your home's been bugging you and you've been looking for some support, just to give it a time frame and a deadline with the focus energy and the intention and the expertise with Gaelle. I love that. So okay, so it's 5 weeks till the solstice. When does it start?
So it's starting this week, but I send video myself. So, you know, if someone wants to do it at their own pace, that's possible as well. So they can just get in touch, and I'm happy, you know, to run through. And basically, we're going to go through every room of your home.
Okay.
So it's a good way to have a you know, quite a big thing happening without feeling overwhelmed either, because you won't be on your own. I think that's a big difference, really. And so that's it. And I'm doing just a special for only the Eden Room viewer. And I'm doing for £69 only, like a tester session, where we, you know, where everything we've discussed will be able to start implementing, really, and doing it together. So I mean, I've never made such, you know, a low offer. That's and that's
getting someone with a coaching background plus Feng Shui qualification and interiors coaching advice for £69 is insane. Yeah,
I know.
Bite her hand off. I love it. Okay, so are there any particular houses that you don't do, or situations you can't help, or is this anybody with a home? Like, you don't have to be a home.
Anybody with a home. And you know, actually, I've noticed also many women have got their business from home, you know, with Zoom. And a lot of people, I feel like their business and their surroundings do not align. And, you know, I've been in touch with several people, really, but often people don't realize. And I think it's just a shame, because for anyone who's viewing, it's like whatever you have in your background has got to be you or about you, and, you know. And so I think.
Do you remember that woman, Sarah, and you gave her the advice because she was changing business from dressmaking to healing, and you rearranged her workspace and her business completely took off? Do you want to say about that? Yeah, she was so happy. What did you do there then? What were you seeing? What was that shift that she needed to make?
So I think she was, if I remember well, she moved her desk, and also well, she made some, you know, removing stuff around, but she also, you know, had a plan. And I think that's what was missing before, a bit like, you know, when you're saying, boy, it's overwhelming, and, you know, the priority with the kids and things like that. And, you know, it's like, you know, it's kind of, it's enabling you to get a step back and see what's coming.
Yeah.
So that
was, so is that what people can expect if they sign up? They're going to get a plan with you overseeing it, helping them create a plan.
Yes,
wow.
definitely. Yeah,
really
definitely.
Great. Yeah,
looking at that, and even, you know, if people wants to look at really what it is they want to achieve. So yeah, whether it's linked with business or not, it's possible. So yeah, it's exciting. And I really, truly I believe that everyone should really, actually, it's not just I believe, but I really want for people to make the most of their surrounding. That should support them, not drag them down. It's, you know, that should be flipped. And there's a lot of studies, and sorry, I don't want to go on much, but there's a lot of studies that we know that clutter affects the brain directly and give us stress. And we also now have more and more studies that shows, you know, hospital, how quickly people recover because of the design and surrounding being, you know, changed, and also, you know, bring some nature indoors. That's a tip, for example. And so, you know, and even in offices, they brought more plants in and they've got less sick days. So we don't have all of the study, but this thing works, and we shouldn't wait for any studies. You know, if it works, really, everyone should embrace that, you know, their surrounding truly support us and reflect who they are and who they want to become.
Wow. Yeah. And it's a reflection of how we value and nourish ourselves, isn't it? How we value and nourish our environment is how we nourish ourselves. I always think about farmed fish for some reason. They don't have good flowing wild water. So all the fish have to have loads of antibiotics because they're sort of swimming around in disease. And it's a bit like that in our homes. Like if we don't create a purified environment that stimulates us, that gives us the best chance of having a thriving environment, how are we supposed to go out there and be our best selves? How are we supposed to shine in the world and be confident and create and manifest what we want? I mean, we're just going to be constantly weighed down, aren't we, by the environment we're swimming around in, the toxins in it.
Yeah, definitely. So true. It's so like we're like flower. In a great environment, we blossom. As simple. And that's what we need to make that great environment to blossom.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's like we expect all this stuff from ourselves, but we wouldn't expect it from a plant. You know, we wouldn't expect a plant to live without water and without the right soil. We expect ourselves just to sort of put up and shut up and carry on and cope. But if our homes are not happy or not supportive, we've really got to take action and change it, because it will make a massive difference across the board. So all those stories, like I've not got the time, haven't got any money, you know, I can't do this, I'm not very good at it. They're all just stories. They're all just ways to actually sabotage our well-being through our environment, which is an amazing realization to have. Wow, I'm so proud of you for doing this. Okay, so it's a 5-week course. How much is the 5-week course?
Oh yes, 397.
397. So less than 100 quid a week. And the taster session, is that a one-to-one with you for 69?
Yes.
That's crazy. Okay, so you get a one-to-one coaching session with Gaelle for the 69. And if they don't want to do the course, but they just want the session with you, can they just buy that?
Yes, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, and then you can chat.
I want everyone to experience a taster of what, you know, life in great environment can be.
Yeah, oh my God, sign me up. I'm so excited. I had a little blitz on mine just in preparation for this call on the weekend, and really felt the benefits yesterday. I was much more productive, way clearer. Money was like pouring in. It was raining. I was like, okay, this works, you know, like some stuff just works. And I think energetic and physical space, as you say, are so connected that maybe it's time to try something different. Give yourself permission to really look at your physical space. If you're someone that works a lot with, you know, more with ideas and journaling and energetics, that's all brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, if you do the yoga and you look after your body, brilliant. But if your home's been getting a bit of a backseat, now's the opportunity to this side of the solstice, really bring it front and center and really let it support you in your growth. I love it.
Yeah, and there's so much, like, you know, it's all about self-care, and the way you treat your home is really reflecting the way you treat yourself, because you know, as you mentioned, you know, like the farm fish, but really, what does your fridge say about you, your cupboard and your beauty cabinet? So if you're buying expensive, you know, or organic food, but you know, what's in your beauty cabinet, does it reflect that? Because what we put, you know, on our skin is as important as what we eat, for example. So it's really giving you, you know, a review on really what does matter to you. And if it doesn't matter, each their own, really, you know. But it's really about self-care and self-love ultimately, and give you a happier life, really.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
love it.
Stop going on.
No, it's so good. Right, Gaelle is fantastic. Right, we've got a few more minutes left, about 4 minutes. Can you give us a few top tips to be getting on with? And guys, make sure you go and check out Gaelle's course. It's at www.giveitspace.com. And you can also book a session with Gaelle for an introductory Eden Room price just for £69. Bite this woman's hand off. Okay, tell us your top tips, Gaelle. This is so great.
So top tips, like bringing nature indoors is super important. I think this year with COVID, a lot of people have gone a bit crazy, but do bear in mind that they're a bit like pets and they will need looking after.
Yes.
So it's also important to consider when we are doing, you know, action, really how much work that's going to be, you know, involved in it.
Yeah, it's like when you go to the hairdressers and you get your hair cut in a certain style that they make it look amazing, but when you get home you can't keep that fringe or whatever because you've got to weigh in the maintenance of that choice. Yeah, okay.
And so start easy, you know, don't overwhelm yourself when you're already feeling overwhelmed. So a good way to start easy is, with things that are not emotionally involved. So, you know, you go to your bathroom and your kitchen and, you know, all the products that have an expiry date. This is a no-brainer, easy. And already that clearing up stuff, you know. So, and I think really, the tip for me and the thing that people do not really do is really, you know, get that awareness. So I would, you know, if you have just, and it doesn't have to take long, even just go and stand in each room and be like, and you may just have a look around and think, oh, actually, I don't want, what have I got that for, you know? And that's not really long to do, really. So that's, And I mean, obviously, the way we arrange, you know, furniture. So, you know, if you're entering in a room, it's you wouldn't want to have, you know, a side of the sofa here or something, you know. You have to have, so naturally you create that space. And obviously there's things like, you know, when we're talking about furniture position, like, you know, your bed and your desk, it's good if, you know, they're in an angle where you can see who's coming in. And that makes the body much more at ease.
All right, I've got a quick question about this. So I've moved my desk so I can see the door to the room, but then it puts the glass door behind me. So what about that? Is that a problem? If I've got another door behind me, the energy of the room is kind of like interesting in here because there's two doors.
What do you mean a glass door? Is that a window or an actual door?
Yeah, like a French door.
Ah, okay. But okay, so there's another way. What you can do, the trick around is you can have a little mirror in front, you know, so at least that would give the vibe that, you know, it tells your brain basically that you know what's coming if it's in front of you.
Very good. Okay, so I need a mirror there in front. Yeah, I need a mirror there in front of me so I can see what's going on back.
Yes, that would be right. But otherwise, I would say if you're in a room and there's two things, you could also put your desk maybe in an angle position.
I'll send you a photo.
Yes, I think
that'd be up one of those sessions.
Sign up for the, you know, tester, and then we can work out. I think. I think by seeing the space and
the sort of thing you do in those testers, you sort of troubleshoot tricky issues, and even if you just get the office right, you know, that's the engine room for me always. My office is like my womb space. You know, I mean, I think the whole home is like a womb for a woman. It's you know, it's the representation of our femininity in a big way as well. It holds the family and your life, but for me, especially the office, has always been my engine room. It's always where I go to create. It's always what kind of gives life to the rest of the house, or maybe it's the heart, like it pumps the blood, the oxygen around the body of the house, because without the office working, I'm not paying the bills, I'm not buying the food in the fridge, I'm not getting that new mattress I want or whatever. So it's always been a really focal point for me, and I've always made the walls nice and things like that. So.
Yeah, great. And for the work you're doing, and you're mentioning feminine energy, but it's really all about the creative process as well. So you want to be probably in an environment, and I mean, we can chat outside that, you know, but that strongly inspire you as well, I think. And, you know, so, you know, what colors as well, you know, do you associate with, and that uplift you, and, you know, what kind of energy do you want to be in to feel that, you know, you're at your top, you know?
Yeah. Well, there's that little object that we did, that session, my object, that was fun, and it was really inspiring. Okay, so this is fantastic, Gaelle. I think everybody's getting something new and a different perspective on this. And I like your approach that it's not about shoulding, it's not about shaming, it's not about forcing yourself to let go of things when you're not ready or you're not in a good emotional space. And it's not about a cookie cutter approach. It's very dynamic and individual and personalized and sensitive. And I really appreciate that. I think we need more of that in the world right now. So many people, I feel like, Marie Kondoed themselves into a white space where they realized years later, oh, why did I get rid of those love letters? Why did I get rid of that picture, you know, or whatever, rug or that lamp? And we don't want to do that. We want to make sure we go through it in a tender way, and with a consciousness and a mindfulness about it. So thank you, Gaelle. It's fantastic. Okay, so finally, www.giveitspace.com. You can go and find out what Gaelle's up to. You can join her for her 5-week course for the next up until the solstice to get this part of your life really sorted. Gaelle, anything else you want to have a final share with us? What's your final thoughts, final word, tip for us all?
Yeah, you mentioned, you know, Marie Kondo, but there's a lot of trend out there, and really, I don't want people to follow trends, because, you know, even like in design, they're talking about bringing more natural, but, you know, it works a lot in Mediterranean country because of the light, but it doesn't necessarily work in Northern Europe because of the light we have. And that's really important, you know, not to follow trend, because it looks great in magazines, and, you know, but magazines are all the styling. It's never like people living in it, really.
Right. It's like when I tried to do the fruit and vegan diet, like there was a Californian man saying do this, and then I'm in England, a woman in the winter going, I'm not eating more fruit, actually give me some mashed potatoes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's listed in a California or a South Africa style mag of interiors, and then it doesn't translate to our environment in Northern Europe, and vice versa.
Exactly. And then the lightning as well, but there's a lot more to talk about, so, you know, I will have to come back, basically.
Yes, we'll have to have you back. This is so inspiring. I hope everybody is just feeling a little extra nudge to go and beautify their space, know they're worth that, know that this is a huge part of self-well-being, and it matters, and you get to matter, and your home gets to matter, and you get to feel at home in it, and you get to feel at peace in it. So yeah, Gaelle, what's most important to you in your home then? Like, how do you want to feel at your home?
I'm super sensitive, so for me, it doesn't take a lot to trigger. So, you know, having a little bit of clutter does not, you know, work. But, you know, I go through phases when there's a lot of things happening, and if I'm customizing or renovating, you know, some furniture, things can just, you know, get out of control. And yeah, I need the space. I need the space, and I need things around me to inspire me. So I need that balance of joy and calm. And, you know, I've got like little chick on my desk, just, you know, because it makes me happy. And, you know, if you're having a difficult, I've got two actually. If you're having a difficult day, everything is perfect.
Love it. I've got pictures my kids have drawn. And a crystal and things like that, but I really appreciate something a little quirky and fun, just to give you a smile and an uplift on a Monday morning. This little fellow on my
cool. Oh, that's nice.
It's like those little touches that just warm your heart, as well as having the cool or the design or whatever else is important.
It's that balance, you know. Beauty is important, functionality is as important, but most of it's also to have fun and feel great in our own space, really. So that's it.
It's been fantastic. Thank you so much, Gaelle. Guys, leave a comment, share this. Definitely check out Gaelle's stuff. Let us know whatever you would like to see next on the Eden Room. If we could have Gaelle back, what would you like to ask her? And we will get that lined up for you. Okay, Gaelle, thanks so much. Such a pleasure. Can't wait to continue the journey with you. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye.